Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. You know, Watchtower, you just can't seem to do anything right lately, can you? Wow. I want to thank our source, thank you, sweetie, and JW Leaks for this information. As many of you know, you've probably heard that Watchtower has hired somebody, Massimo Introvigni, I don't know how to pronounce that name, who is in the Transylvanian Society of Dracula and a Satanist. I will put the link down below to this. He's written a book, Satanism, A Social History. Expensive book, $250. Good grief. But I'll put the link to JW Leaks, and it's under the Jehovah's Witness in the Netherlands court case documents and application to stop publication of the academic report. And when you scroll down, down to they have hired somebody to give their opinion on what is going on in the Netherlands, expert on child abuse. My goodness. To the government and the courts? Can you imagine if a Jehovah's Witness even read his book? I mean, this is as bad as like the Johannes Grieber thing. You know, them using his translation for their New World Translation back in the 60s. And then come to find out, you know, he is into spiritism and a spirit medium and stuff. Now, I'm not saying anything against, you know, those particular beliefs. Now, this guy, Massimo, whatever his name is, he is the director of a program called Cessner. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with this, it's C-E-S-N-U-R. Now, digging in our archives, our Bezilla, I remembered seeing something about this before. Back in 1998, this Cessner was having a convention. Now, do you see? This is the front of the program. Now, when you scroll down, and inside, Jehovah's Witnesses, sociological and legal perspectives. These are prominent Jehovah's Witness, aka Watchtower attorneys, who were going to attend this convention with Cessner. And this Massimo, who is in the Dracula Society. Who is Watchtower associating with? To me, this is worse than the United Nations. This isn't just the wild beast. This is Satanist. And like I said, I have nothing against Satanists and their beliefs. But being a Jehovah's Witness, you know, my God, I mean, it's just unbelievable. All right. Now, I'm going to put a link down below to this file in my Dropbox, because there's a letter here from this Massimo, the director of Cessner, Center for Studies on New Religions, and it's a letter explaining Watchtower Society's sudden withdrawal from this conference. Thank you for your letter. It was unfortunate that we could not talk during the conference, but there were simply too many people. Although all the JWs had sent messages explaining that they could not come for personal reasons, I am told by lawyers knowledgeable with their matters that their headquarters are concerned because of the campaign launched in the United States by Comments from the Friends, an anti-cult publication run by ex-Jehovah's Witnesses in Massachusetts. In this campaign, it is argued that Jehovah's Witnesses are becoming ecumenical and joining interfaith efforts that they once condemned as demonic. And that's true. You know, look at, they joined the United Nations, aka the Wild Beast. And it looks like they were going to go to this conference put on, you know, by this Missimo, back to the letter. In order to counter anti-cult pressure in Europe, this strategy devised in Brooklyn would be kept hidden from the rank-and-file Jehovah's Witnesses. Cessna conferences have been prominently quoted as ecumenical or interfaith gatherings by comments from the Friends. Of course, they are something different. Gatherings of scholars, mostly sociologists, with no interfaith or ecumenical purposes. This is misleading but not disturbing. However, when comments from the Friends wrote that in Torino JWs were prepared to share the podium with Scientologists, Moonies, New Agers, occult groups, and vampire sects, we were deeply disturbed. Actually, lawyers for Cessna USA have the file and are considering acting against comments from the Friends. New Agers is a vague label, and there was actually the main lawyer representing the Unification Church in the U.S. He is also a law school professor. Vampire Sects is a bad joke on the Transylvania Society of Dracula, actually an academic organization devoted to studying the vampire myth, publisher of the very scholarly The Transylvanian Journal, since both I and Gordon Melton are presidents of national chapters of TSD and have written books on the vampire mythology. And I mean, there is some history, you know, with the vampires and Dracula and stuff. There was actually a real person, you know, Vladimir the Impaler, that they think the Dracula story came from. So, surely no Scientologists or representatives of occult groups were in Torino as speakers. As opposite to being in the audience, the conference was open to whoever paid the registration fee, and we will not leave such misrepresentations unchallenged. Best regards, Massimo Introvini, whatever his name is. Now, it's interesting, in this file there is also a letter here from a lawyer. It's Cessna's Salt Lake City lawyer letter claiming comments from the Friends, sounds like it was an XJW group, attempted to intimidate Watchtower Society speakers into withdrawing by exposing their participation. See, and the thing is Watchtower can do whatever it wants. I mean, if it wants to join the UN, if it wants to go to these, you know, conferences, that's fine. But don't be hypocrites about it. And we all know that is the point. That's the crux of all of this. If any of the rank and file went to any of these conferences, if they got involved with this Transylvania, you know, organization for Dracula, we know what would happen. They would be hauled in the back room and disfellowshipped so fast. So that's the point, is the hypocrisy. So I don't agree, you know, that they're bashing this XJW group over this. Now, at the end of this file is our response. And I believe this is from the XJW group in response to this elder's letter. Our correction and apology on page 10 of this issue attempts to correct any mistaken impression our unintentional misuse of terms may have caused. We had no desire to malign Cessna or the various religious groups that sent delegates to the Torino conference. These academics and sect leaders evidently feel that their association and fellowship is mutually beneficial. Otherwise, why would they come together? Our only purpose in writing was to alert Jehovah's Witnesses to the deception on the part of their own leaders who quietly joined such a conference while teaching publicly, and I quote, Jehovah's Witnesses have nothing in common with other religious groups and can never seek any affiliation with them. That's a quote from the November 22nd Awake, 1975, page 23. See, and that's the point, is how many of the rank and file. Can you imagine if my mother found out that they were going to a conference like this? I mean, she's already paranoid about demons. Oh my God. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, I've got the Awake Bond volume here, 1998, July 8th, on page 28, Watching the World. Threat to religious liberty in Europe. At a recent press conference in Washington, D.C., USA, Massimo Introvini, I think, a Roman Catholic scholar from Turin, Italy said that anti-sect lists or reports are being compiled in several countries. Organizations targeted as dangerous sects include Baptists, Buddhists, Catholic Charismatics, Hasidic Jews, Jehovah's Witnesses, Quakers, and the Young Women's Christian Association. A German report cites 800 groups, one in Belgium, 187, and one in France, 172. Introvigny Veen writes that in France, teachers have been fired from public schools after years of honorable service only because they were members of the Jehovah's Witnesses. As reported by Compass Direct News Service, Introvigny Veen expressed concern about public sponsorship of anti-cult movements, he said. It is abundantly clear that these movements are responsible for spreading misleading and often simply false information about religious minorities and intolerant world view. If he only knew how Watchtower felt about ones who write books about Satanism. My goodness. So they actually quote this guy in their Awake magazine. But, growing up a Jehovah's Witness, can you imagine if a Jehovah's Witness joined the Transylvanian Society of Dracula? Oh, it's just a social club. Yeah, I could see how well that would go over. Can't you? My goodness. My goodness. And I'm also going to put the link down below to the testimony, document, paper, whatever you want to call it, that this Massimo Dracula wannabe wrote. So it's just gotten to the point to where it's so ridiculous, and Watchtower, I think, is so desperate. They are screwing up big time. And they just cannot seem to do anything right at this point. So anyway, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your love and cards and support. We appreciate it so much. And you all have a wonderful day. Bye.